great question. View on AI regulations. For a while, it looked a lot like we were sort of going to follow Europe's lead. We were kind of doing Europe light, I would say. That's clearly not really going to be the case anymore. Do you have any takeaway for the audience on how the board should thinking about AI regulation?
But it's emergent, it's complex. Europe definitely has their 2025 strategy in place for this. Under the Biden administration, there was the White House AI Bill of Rights that has been taken down from the current administration's White House website, and there's some other things, obviously Stargate among them, that are coming through. It's just very complicated. I don't have a simple answer for this one, unfortunately. I think continued diligence, but also you can expect a couple of things we know are going to be part of any regulation that has any teeth. Can you explain how the models work in as far as that's possible? Is there a person at the end of every decision? Right, you're not letting this sort of black box go without any control and without any ability, frankly, to shut it off if it starts to make problems. So there's some real basic commonalities that we see across the emergent frameworks that give us the clear swim lanes for it, albeit the details will be yet to come. I would just also comment that in certain cases it's almost like it's going too quickly. In other cases, you have industry leaders who are asking for regulation, which should tell you something about how they see the emergent competition. In other areas, in particular national security and the rest, it could be that there's opportunities for some acceleration vis-a-vis the deep seek conversation that we had before. So again, it's diligence and it's ongoing attention, and it's this one's not easy, but there's also not, unless you're operating in Europe, for example, which a lot of groups do, of course, it's a little bit nebulous right now what the rules are.
There is, I think, a way to think about it as well, which is, every board and senior management team should know what the values of their company are. And those values should match how you're deploying using AI, like everything else, right? And, it's sometimes hard to carve out that time to talk about the value conversation, right? Because we're too busy with the consent agenda. But this is probably a really good time to just do a check and say, is what we're doing and how we're doing it and who we're working with on it match who we are as a company? Not that there's one right answer.
By the way, it's not only a federal law piece. In the absence of very clear federal legislation, there's a lot of state and local laws that are already popping up that I'm sure a lot of you are already looking at. So again, there's just an inherent complexity right now.
And that is also a great point. Just like any other regulatory environment, like with data, companies will need to decide, do they want to do a differing strategy for different states and countries? Do they want to pick the toughest one and stick with that everywhere? This is just going to be questions that y'all will need to address and decide as companies. All right, I have kind of a meaty one, but we've got 3 minutes left, so it's a challenge for y'all. But this person gave me a little money bag on text, so they get their question last. And it is a good one. It is, how in the hell, and what is the board's role in establishing the AI validation and ethical frameworks, given how consequent some of the decisions AI is now making or being involved in? Congratulations, that's your last question.
Well, you don't ask the CIA guy about ethics.
This is why he's scary.
I mean, honestly, that's kind of a rookie mistake, but okay. It really is, to me, there's some fundamental questions. My concern would be the connection of AI to what is quickly becoming surveillance capitalism. This notion that we can consume public and private behavior and turn it into marketing data. I know that drives a lot of tech, drives a lot of decisions, but I also know that it strips away autonomy. And that if humans are losing their autonomy, we need to take a step back and think about it seriously. That human autonomy matters. It matters to an organization. It matters to individuals. It should be a fundamental value.
Okay.
And each of these decisions, if you are stripping autonomy away from anyone in the company, what is the value of that? What does it really cost you?
Great.
And how much is a soul? Mm-hmm. Right? It's that kind of question. It's not, to me, it's not a tech question. It's a human question.
Excellent.
At one extreme, there are companies like Klarna, which have very publicly said it is our intention to reduce our workforce by half. incidentally, a few months later, the CEO said, "Oh, that means that I can actually be replaced as well." So as you dig into these things and you start learning about it in the applications, more and more sort of becomes available to consider in terms of what some of the implications are. I think Joanna mentioned the idea of what are the organization's values. Obviously, this needs to align with that. You're not going to change the values because of particular technology. The balance is going to be with productivity, with looking forward, with keeping the organization as a viable enterprise, all of those kinds of things that we have to do regardless of the technology environment. But the people aspect that Rob was talking about, again, has a lot of real material business and cultural implications for the organization. Again, are we framing this as an autonomous opportunity, as an augmented opportunity? Here's an example of something that comes down the line a little bit further. If you're automating out, for example, all of the junior opportunities, we talked about this last night, how are you going to guarantee that you have managerial and expert capabilities longer term that can actually validate whether the machine is on? So we have to balance out a lot of these different things. I think as you dig in, first of all, there's all kinds of white papers and guidance and things that you can review on this. I wouldn't suggest that it's overly complicated to get an initial framework together, and then you just have to keep evolving as the tech continues to grow.
Yeah. One great thing, and I think it's a great thing to leave us with, and before I hand it over to Darnell, is right now keep a human in the loop. You can decide where that human is, but we're seeing the best and most reliable outcomes from human and AI together. And I think that's a great note to end on. So, Darnell?
Thank you very much.